Welcome to the Sleepy Archaeologist. Take a moment to calm your mind and unwind as we go back to the 18th century. Catherine the Great was one of history's most famous female rulers. She was born in 1729 as Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst, a minor German princess. At just 14 years old, she was brought to Russia to marry the heir to the throne, Grand Duke Peter. In 1762, after a dramatic coup, she became Empress of Russia, a title she would hold for the next 34 years. Her reign from 1762 to 1796 is remembered for bold military campaigns, sweeping reforms, and vast expansions of the Russian Empire. She became known as Catherine the Great, a name linked with grandeur, power, and ambition. But to everything there are layers beneath the surface. Beyond the splendor of palaces and politics, Catherine lived a life filled with small, personal habits, daily rituals that grounded her amidst the weight of empire. These were not the tales of scandal or intrigue often told about her, but the soft, steady rhythms of her everyday life. So here are 4 quiet, everyday things about one of history's most powerful rulers. Number 1, her love of writing. Catherine loved to write. Though she ruled an empire that stretched from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea, she remained, at heart, a writer. Throughout her reign, she wrote an astonishing number of letters, over 10,000 by some estimates. Many were addressed to leading thinkers of the Enlightenment, such as Voltaire and Denis Diderot. She admired these philosophers deeply, exchanging witty, thoughtful letters with them for years. In 1765, she wrote to Voltaire, "I write as others talk in the manner of my heart." Letter writing became part of her daily routine. She often composed 20 or more letters in a single day, working late into the evening by candlelight. Her letters wandered through topics of politics, theater, books, architecture, and her gardens. Many of her letters survive today in archives across Europe and Russia, preserved pieces of her thoughtful, often humorous voice. Some can be found in the Russian State Archive of Ancient Acts in Moscow, and others are carefully preserved at the National Library of Russia in St. Petersburg. Her letters to the philosopher Voltaire are kept in the Voltaire collection at the National Library, a quiet reminder of her lifelong love of writing. Number 2, a fondness for dogs. In her grand palaces, places of gold-leafed ceilings and crystal chandeliers, Catherine kept company with loyal dogs. She adored Italian greyhounds, graceful little dogs known for their slender legs and affectionate nature. Her favorite among them was called Duzinka. These dogs were not merely ornaments. They followed her everywhere, through the polished corridors of the Winter Palace and the gardens of Tsarskoye Selo. In portraits from her reign painted in the late 1700s, the dogs often appear by her side, resting at her feet or gazing up at her with soft, trusting eyes. Some of Catherine's portraits with her dogs can still be seen at the State Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, Russia. Catherine mentioned her pets often in her letters. She joked about their good manners compared to the courtiers surrounding her. At Tsarskoye Selo, her summer residence outside St. Petersburg, she commissioned memorial stones for her dogs in the gardens. While the exact markers are no longer easily visible, the gardens remain open where visitors can walk through the peaceful paths she once walked with her dogs. Number 3, love of gardening. Catherine also found peace in the natural world. During her reign, she oversaw the transformation of the palace gardens at Tsarskoye Selo into a grand English-style landscape filled with winding paths, reflective ponds, and carefully arranged trees. The garden movement, inspired by English landscape design, was sweeping through Europe in the mid-1700s. Catherine embraced it fully. She read gardening manuals, studied architectural treatises, and worked closely with designers like Charles Cameron and Vasily Nayalov. Archaeological studies in the gardens of Tsarskoye Selo have revealed fragments of marble statues, fountains, and imported plants from her time, evidence of her careful planning. Catherine often wrote about the tranquility she found while walking among the trees and fountains, away from the noise of court life. Here, in the soft green light of the gardens, she found a rare kind of stillness, one shaped by her own hand. 4. Daily routine. Despite the luxury surrounding her, Catherine's daily life remained rooted in discipline and simplicity. She rose early, often before dawn, and began her day at her desk. In her private study, which was far more modest than the public halls of her palaces, she read official reports, reviewed new laws, and wrote letters. Archaeological and historical research has shown that her private rooms at both the Winter Palace and Tsarskoye Selo were relatively simple, designed for function, not display. Her personal writing desk, still preserved at Tsarskoye Selo, shows the marks of long use, the edges worn smooth by years of steady work. Catherine once reflected, "The hardest task in this world is to rule wisely." And so, day after day, she returned to her desk, shaping laws, answering correspondence, and tending to the endless demands of rule. For all her fame, Catherine the Great remained at heart a woman of quiet habits. She found comfort in the steady scratch of a pen across parchment, in the soft companionship of her dogs, in the rustling leaves of a well-tended garden, and in the quiet order of a desk stacked with papers. Her legacy is often remembered in palaces, portraits, intrigues, and politics, but in the quieter corners of history she lingers in simpler ways, as a devoted letter writer, a lover of her loyal dogs, a garden walker, a woman at her desk. It is in these steady routines we glimpse the truest side of the Empress. Thank you for traveling with me, fellow wanderer of the past. May your days find quiet peace and be filled with the simple pleasures that make life worth living.